Sudusparsha Bhutkarani Muhuhu Unmulayan Nagapatin Vatyani Ko Rajodvajaha Vavavayu Sudusparsha Bhutkarani Muhuhu Unmulayan Nagapatin Vatyani Ko Rajodvajaha. Synonyms: Vavav, blue; Vayuhu, the winds; Sudusparshaha, unpleasant to touch; Futkaran, hissing sounds; Irayan, giving out; Muhuhu, again and again; Unmulayan, uprooting; Nagapatin, gigantic trees; Vatya, cyclonic air; Anikaha, armies; Rajaha, dust; Dvajaha, ensigns. Translation on purport by Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: There blew winds which were most uninviting to the touch, hissing again and again and uprooting gigantic trees. They had storms for their armies and clouds of dust for their ensigns. Purport: When there are natural disturbances like blowing cyclones, too much heat or snowfall, and uprooting of trees by hurricanes, it is to be understood that the demoniac population is increasing, and so the natural disturbance is also taking place. There are many countries on the globe, even at the present moment, where all these disturbances are current. This is true all over the world. There is insufficient sunshine, and there are always clouds in the sky, snowfall, and severe cold. These assure that such places are inhabited by demoniac people who are accustomed to all kinds of forbidden, sinful activity. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining this Bhagavatam class, and thank you for giving this opportunity to speak on this verse from Canto 3, Chapter 17, Text 5. So before we start with this verse, let's recap on what we have heard or listened till now. So the beginning of chapter, demigods were satisfied with the explanation provided by Brahma. They were actually very frightened that why there is a looming darkness all over the world. So Brahmaji explained all the instances and the incidents, what had happened and why all this darkness is happening. So with that answer, they were happy, and they were satisfied because they knew that this was the plan of the Lord. One thing is, like, they knew that this is the plan of the Lord, and they are satisfied, and Lord will come back. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, will come back to protect them. So they're satisfied in that way, and they went they went back to their places. Then the second verse of this chapter, if you see here, no, second verse, let's go back. The one thing I want to point here is Maitreya Muni is calling Sadhvi. He's calling Mother Diti as Sadhvi. In the 14th chapter of this canto 3, the pregnancy of Diti. The title of the chapter is Pregnancy of Diti. We have seen that there was some kind of a mistake which was made, and then at any point of the time, there was no blaspheming of Mother Diti for any kind of act she performed. So that is the quality of a Vaishnava. So same here, Maitreya Muni is also telling that, calling her as a Sadhvi. Sadhvi means a virtuous lady. So she, thinking that she is the children who are going to born from her womb will be a disturbance, or will be causing a distraction or a destruction to this universe. She was holding them as much as possible in her womb. So Varsha Sate, it's a very good word here. Varsha Sate means 100 years she held that that children in her womb. So this Sadhvi word, right? Few years back, when I was um, giving a news of a famous Indian guru who got jailed because of some sexual activity in his ashram or something, with Devkinandan Prabhu. So Devkinandan Prabhu mentioned that, I like that point, so that's why I'm just recollecting here, that Devkinandan Prabhu mentioned that yes, anyone can. This world is very harsh, because this is material world controlled by Maya Devi, and anyone can get into her influence, because if you see it, Maya Devi is a energy of the Lord, external energy of the Lord himself. So she can get anyone in her grips. So we should always, when such incidents happens, we should not blaspheme others, but more than blaspheming, or more than judging the other person, it's better to think that, pray to the Lord that please don't put me in such a situation, or please protect me from such kind of incidents. So this is where we have to also take a lesson here, that Maitreya Muni is calling um, Mother Diti here as Sadhvi, because she's a virtuous lady by nature, and she has held that Purne, like completely she held that children in her womb for 100 years. It must be very painful, but she still held that, um, those two children in a in a room. So next, from verses 3 to 14 in this chapter, it all explains about the natural calamities or the natural disturbances that are happening just by the birth of these two twins, right? Just by these twins. So now the point is, when an inauspicious thing happens in this world, or when especially a birth of miscreants happen in this world, in this universe, this nature gets to know it beforehand, right? So yesterday Dattatreya Prabhu explained beautifully, like how the Saturn was not was active and he explained about the astronomical thing during his class for this third and fourth verses. So we'll just go through the translation and go to the fifth verse. This, because from verse 3 to verse 14, it's all about the natural calamities that are happened because of the birth of these two boys, right? So on the birth of the two demons, there were many natural disturbances, all very fearful and wonderful, in the heavenly planets, the earthly planets, and in between. So these natural calamities are happening all over the universe, from the heaven to the earthly planet, and all in between, in the outer space and everything. So the next verse is Sahachalabu was Chelur. Okay, there were earthquakes along the mountains on the earth, and it appeared that there was fire everywhere. Many inauspicious planets like Saturn appeared, along with comets, meteors, and thunderbolts. So after this, today's verse is our verse, which is Vavavayu Sudusparsha Futkara Nirayan Muhuhu Unmulayan Nagapatin Vatyaniko Rajodvajaha. So he's saying that Vavavayu, there the winds blew. And what was the quality of that wind? Suduhu sparshaha. Very nice word here. I'll connect this same line, okay, later with some other incident, okay. So this vavavayu sudushparshaha, duhu means it's bad. So in untouchable winds. So when the winds are blowing out of fire, or when the winds are blowing because of some kind of a cyclone, that winds carry all kinds of debris in them. So if you're going for evening walk on a nice beach, you feel the breeze. That's different breeze or different wind. But here, what is the kind of wind we're talking about is a sudusparshaha. That winds are untouchable. So uninviting to touch. Prabhupada used the word uninviting to touch, unpleasant to touch. So suduhu, unpleasant to touch. That kind of a wind, because those winds carry the dust and debris from all because the winds are very heavy and they carry all this debris. So we cannot touch or we cannot breathe such kind of winds. Okay, so that is why the word sudusparshaha is been given. And futkaran irayan muhuhu. So those winds are making hissing sounds again and again. Muhu is again and again. So like those kind of sounds, like they're making those kinds of sounds again and again. So unmuliyan nagapatin vatyaniko rajodujaha. So those winds are vatyaniko. It's like a cyclone of army. Like the Sanskritly, basically the Anika is an army. So Vatya is a cyclone of army of a cyclonic air, right? And Rajodvajaha, Raja is that cyclone. What is it carrying? It is carrying the ensigns or the flags of dust. So it's just a comparison that they're making. So this cyclonic air is having a army of so it's an army of cyclonic air, and this army, what are they carrying? The flags of dust. So that's what is a comparison here they're making. And unmuliyan nagapatin. So what is this winds and the destructive winds? What are they doing? What they are doing? Unmulayan. Mula means a root or a great support, right? Uh, Mula mantra, we say, right? It's a root. Basically it's a root, or the beginning, or the cause, or the strong foundation. That is called mula. So unmula means taking uproot, right? It's an opposite of mula. Uprooting. Nagapatin are the gigantic trees. So what is this army of cyclonic air carrying the dust of flags, the flags of dust? What are they doing? They are uprooting the gigantic trees. So this is the explanation here. Vavo Vayu Sudishparsha. The Vayu is not is unpleasant to touch, and that unpleasant touch, what is the quality of it? It's making sounds, hissing sounds again and again. And those cyclonic air of army. This is not a one cyclonic air or something. There is an army of cyclonic air, and that cyclonic air with the flags of dust, they are uprooting the gigantic trees. This is the translation of this verse. So now, Vavavayu Sudu Sparshaha. So this is what happens when a miscreants take birth. So Sudu Sparsha, you get untouchable air or untouchable wind, which you cannot feel it. But if we so let's compare the same line with a little change has been used when the Krishna was when Lord Krishna appeared in this earth, on this earth, right? So this is here. So if you see here, this is from Canto 10, chapter 3, text 1 to 5. But especially this line is text 4. Okay, Vavavayu Sukha Sparshaha. What we have seen here is Suduhu. Suduhu means unpleasant. Sparsha means touch, right? It is Suduhu is unpleasant touch. But when Krishna appeared, the same line, it is the only one word, one syllable changed. Suduhu became Sukha Sparsha. That means the breeze was so pleasant that people were feeling to touch it. It was such a nice, like when you go out in the evening, some on certain days, you feel that you get such a beautiful feeling of the breeze. So that is the breeze which when Krishna appeared, that happened. So Vava Vayu Sukha Sparshaha Punya Gandhavya Suchihi. The quality of that air is Punya Gandhaha, the very pleasant fragrance in that air, in that breeze. Agnayascha Dvijatinam. So when Krishna appeared, Dvijatinam, Dvija is a Brahman. So this Brahmin started performing the yagnas, and Shantastatra Samindata, they are very peaceful. The whole world was very peaceful. But in this case, it is not true. Vava Vayu Sudhu Sparshaha, it's all unpleasant to touch, and that air was carrying all the dust, and it's a cyclonic air, very harsh, and they were uprooting the trees, gigantic trees. But here, when Krishna appears, so let's see the difference, right? So when miscreants appear, we have seen that there are so many abnormalities that are happening in this universe, starting from the heavenly planets to the earthly planet and all in between and in the outer space. But when it is Krishna's birth, what was happening? So that's what I was trying to see. So when it has happened, if we see the translation, we see that thereafter, at the auspicious time for the appearance of the Lord, the entire universe was surcharged with all the qualities of goodness, beauty, and peace. So the whole universe, entire universe, was surcharged with all the qualities of goodness, beauty, and peace. The constellation Rohini appeared. This is very auspicious thing. Constellation of Rohini appearing during the birth is very, very auspicious. And as did stars like Ashwini, the sun, the moon, and the other stars and planets were very peaceful. All directions appeared extremely pleasing, and the beautiful stars twinkled in the cloudless sky. Decorated with towns, villages, mines, and pasturing grounds, the earth seemed all auspicious. So when Krishna appeared, even though he appeared in the jail, in the prison house of Kansa, but nature knows who was born at that point of time, right? Just right before it, when um, uh, Mother Devaki, when when Krishna appeared, or when Krishna was in the womb of Mother Devaki, then demigods appeared in the jail. Jail is considered to be an inauspicious place, but whenever there is, or wherever there is Krishna, the inauspiciousness will become auspiciousness. It changes everything. So demigods came there, they sang a beautiful songs, and they were uh, paying obeisances in their hearts, and they were pleasing the Lord. That's how we have to do. Like, if we have to, um, when Krishna comes, like, when we bring Krishna, when we bring the Lord, so in this universe, in this material world, in our natural lives, the Krishna is in the form of a deity. So when the deity comes in, we have to have such a beautiful surrender, a beautiful songs have to be played, or sung for the pleasure of the Lord. So that's what demigods did. When the Lord appeared, they circumambulated all around the space, around on the skies, and they started praying to the Lord. They're so completely surrendered to the Lord. So that's what happened. So decorated with towns, villages. Okay, the rivers flowed with clear water, and the lakes and vast reservoirs full of lilies and lotuses were extraordinarily beautiful. In the trees and green plants, full of flowers and leaves, pleasing to eyes, birds like cuckoos and swarms of bees began chanting with sweet voices for the sake of the demigods. A pure breeze began to blow. See, this is the word. Vayu Sukha Sparshaha. In this case, it's Sukha. In the previous case, it is Sudhu Sparsha. Okay. A pure breeze began to blow, pleasing the senses. See, Sukha means pleasing the senses of touch and bearing the aroma of flowers. So fragrance was coming from from such a beautiful breeze. And when the Brahmanas engaging ritualistic ceremonies ignited their fires according to Vedic principles, the fires burned steadily, undisturbed by the breeze. So this is not, it shows that it's not a cyclonic air, just a breeze, a beautiful, fragrant breeze, which didn't stop or agitate the fire, which was ignited by the Brahmanas for their yagnas. Thus, when the birthless Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to appear, the saints and Brahmanas who had always been disturbed by demons like Kamsa and his men felt peace within the core of their hearts, and kettle drums simultaneously vibrated from the upper planetary systems. So Krishna, when the auspicious things, when the auspiciousness, when Krishna appears, when the Lord appears, the auspiciousness comes in automatically in auspicious things also. After Kamsa, when he saw Mother Devaki, she was carrying, and he saw a shining bodily features in Mother Devaki. Kamsa thought in his mind, why my sister started glowing now? Now what happened? He was observing that he was observing the changes in the bodily features of his sister. Then after and also there were some quotations um, by the acharyas that Kansa, he was thinking, his mind was changing also. He was thinking, oh, he changed his mind. He was feeling guilty of killing the previous 6 children, and he sent back Devaki and Vasudev to their palaces. He released them from the prison, and he sent them back because of the birth of Krishna, because of the appearance of the Lord there. So the inauspicious things, like the inauspiciousness in the mind of Kansa can also change. That is the level of that is the auspiciousness that is the kind of auspiciousness that comes with the appearance of the Lord. So in the but and the oppositely, if we see here, conversely, if we see here, the appearance of the miscreants creates such a disaster. We see many more verses coming in this, till verse 14. We see the different natural calamities that are being happening in this world because of the birth of these 2 children. But as we said, when Krishna appears, this is not true. And if you see the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that was eclipse. There was a lunar eclipse when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Lunar eclipse is considered to be an inauspicious thing. Eclipses are in general considered to be inauspicious time to do any good activity. But Lord appeared there, and when Lord appeared, he has proclaimed his mission of birth, of this appearance, because all the residents of Nadia or Navadvip, they were taking bath as a customary ritual. When the eclipse happens, they go take bath in the river Ganga, and they were chanting the holy names of Hari. So that so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu declared that, okay, I appeared here because I want to I appeared here because I want to so he's declaring that he wants to spread the holy name, the importance of the holy names. That is, he's declaring the purpose of his appearance by that by the through the residents, by chanting the holy names while he appeared. So that is the difference, right? And also the other example I was thinking about is the appearance of Duryodhana. Duryodhana is a miscreant, right? When he appeared, the appearance itself is a different thing, and it's unusual appearance. Basically, what happened was, Mother Gandhari, she was carrying these children, or that womb for about, she had a pregnancy for 2 years, and there was nothing. The children were not coming out. So finally, she was when she delivered a meat loaf. So because of the mercy of Vasudev, so Vasudev cut this meatloaf into 100 pieces. Actually, 100 pieces. Even Mahabharata, it explains that the size of those pieces were about a size of a thumb. and that so these 100 pieces were put, and they were hatched in the pots filled with ghee, and the after cutting into 100 pieces, there was a little piece which was left, and she put it into 101th pot. That is Dushala, she's a girl. So, and they were in that pots for another 2 years, and then the first pot which broke, and the birth of a child happened. That was Duryodhan. When the child was born, his Mahabharata explains that his voice, his cry was like a braying of an ass, asses or a donkey. So he was braying like a donkey. By hearing the voice of the child, that braying, the other donkeys in that country or in that city, they also started braying loud. So, and after that, they all saw the inauspicious events. So what they saw, they heard, who heard, all the residents of this um, of the city, they heard the um, sounds of the, or the crying of the wolves, or the howling of the wolves and jackals, which is inauspicious. Crying or howling of dogs. The dogs were also making yeah, we also get this information in the next few verses also. Yeah, crying of the wolves and jackals was their howling. So um, Vidura, as a knowledgeable person with other brahmanas of the country, they went to the Dhritarashtra and said that, say, these are all inauspicious things. We should really forego. I mean, you should really forego this child. He may not be. He may not bring any auspiciousness for the country or for the universe. So please forego this child. But the Dhritarashtra, because of his attraction to his child, he didn't do that. And we know what happened later, right? We know that the same Dhritarashtra, sorry, Duryodhana, became the reason. He became very arrogant, and he became the main reason for the Mahabharata war. So that is one more example we can see. And the other example is Shishupal. Shishupal, when he was born with unusual, with unusual bodily features. He had multiple organs which were not necessary in general. Boys, or when a human is born, the human will have two eyes, and uh, a mouth, and two hands and two legs. But Shishupal, when he was born with unusual extra organs. So uh, that is what is another example. And Lord Krishna, when he holds this Shishupal, those organs were disappears, and that was the indication that Krishna is going to kill. But yeah, so what we're talking about is the appearance of the Lord, and the difference between the appearance of the Lord and difference between the appearance of the miscreants. When the miscreants appear, the whole universe reacts to it. There was a research that was done for tsunami. When tsunami happened in 2005, these animals, they got to know beforehand that the tsunami is going to come, and they, they reached out to the highest places, the higher places to protect themselves from the tsunami. So in the similar way, when the miscreants, or when the auspicious people, when they appear, this material world comes to know previously and beforehand, and the material world and the animals and the birds, they react accordingly. If it is a miscreant, they react in a bad way. Now they howl, the dogs and cats and jackals, they howl. But when the auspicious things, like when Krishna appears, there is some auspiciousness there, that the breeze is pleasant. So with this verse, Vava Vayu Sudush Parsha, we understood that when these two children were born, the uprooting of the gigantic trees happened by the cyclonic airs, and that air was engulfed with the dust. So that is it for today. Hare Krishna. Madhupati Prabhu, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Hari Kishore Prabhu. We'd like to wish you all a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. We would like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shina Singha, Jaina Singha, Jaina Singha, Praladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bringa, Ugravira Mahavishnu, Jamantam Sarvatomukam, Nasingam, Veshanam Bhadram, Metyam Namamyam. Nrsimha Bhagwan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Mancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu bhavacha patitanam pavanebhayo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Mantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ekadashi Vrata ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.